All right, what's going on, folks? Happy Thursday, September 18th, 2025. Welcome to the Crypto Report. My name is Hamilton, joined here by our co-host Josh. What's up, Josh? How you doing?
Things are going great. Nothing to complain about. How are you?
Things are fantastic. I want to kickstart this Crypto Report with two things. One, I want a plea here. Folks, if you're not already there, go sign up for the free newsletter. The newsletters that we put out on a daily basis will keep you in line with the broader trend of the market, and occasionally we will send out trade alerts. The last 3 trades that we have sent out on the free newsletter have all hit over 100%, and in some circumstances are still open, making a bunch of money. I implore you that if you have an issue staying long a bull market, we will give you the tools necessary to remain long a bull market. The newsletter out this morning, the most important sector in a bull market is tech. Go read it. It's great stuff. You can also go through every single newsletter that we've sent out, read through how we've played over the last 4 months. I'll give you a hint right now. We've made an absolute crap ton of money over the last 4 months because we understood off the April 7th low very quickly that this market was going to continue to rip higher. So without further ado, I have another area I want to get into a little later about global liquidity and how this kind of plays into the crypto trade. But first, I want to start off with Josh. What is your opinion as of today, September 18th, 11:36 a.m. Brazilian time? What is your expectation for Bitcoin?
Higher. You need many more words, but I mean that is it, right? I've listened to fucking terrible bear takes for weeks on end. The top is in yesterday. The first cut, we've topped. That's just not what's going to happen here. And so my expectation, and I've been writing in TTI about it for at this point weeks, is that we got that V-shaped recovery out of that breakdown from when was it? Early August, I believe. Bitcoin has been following this pattern for the last 2 years. We lose a range. It has been in a constant grind up, largely because of ETF passive buying. And we've once again, we're back in the range. We've been buying in TTI since that reclaim of the 112 level and averaging down our positions from the all-time high breakout. And I've been saying for now 2 weeks, it's going back to 117. After that, likely 120. Might chop around a bit, and then we're getting an all-time high breakout. So higher is my response.
So obviously 100%. You mentioned ETF passive flows. We've talked about that a lot over the last couple of weeks. So we're not going to get into that with too much detail right now, but you're right. From now on, there's going to be, particularly because 401ks and stuff can now be used to buy these ETFs, there will forever be an endless bid on Bitcoin and Ethereum and whatever other cryptocurrency ETFs are approved for the 401ks. So yes, 100%, I think higher. That doesn't mean we're going to go higher forever, but there's always going to be a bid. Are we really going to see the sharp 90% corrections that we're used to in the crypto space? Probably not. We're probably not going to see a 90% correction in Bitcoin ever again because, once again, we have that passive flow backstop. But I want to take it in a different direction. Excuse me. Excuse me. Sorry. I want to talk about the global liquidity trade. So really quick, I have a chart I want to show you, but I want you guys to think about this before I show you the chart. Global liquidity is increasing. We know that. Fed just came out, restarted cutting. We're deep in a interest rate cut cycle, and we're probably going to continue to cut over the next 2 years. Around the world, most places are cutting rates. I live in the one country in the world that seems to be raising them because Brazil, I don't know what the fuck is going on with Brazil, but they're raising their rates. And it's terrible. It's so expensive to pull out debt in Brazil. It's just, I don't understand how businesses survive down here. And we also know, from a banking perspective, particularly with the Trump administration, they are loosening banking regulations. Reserve ratio requirements are coming down, et cetera. So there is a flood of liquidity entering the market consistently. We can track that. We can see it not only on a policy, from a policy standpoint, but also from a chartable standpoint. You can go and you can look at the M2 money supply is a terrible outlet to strictly look at global liquidity, but it is one piece you could use. You could also use the SOFR, the Libra, et cetera. I'm not going to get into it, but go and look, whatever you need to do to prove to yourself that global liquidity is going up, or you can just listen to me because I do the work. It is. What I want you to think about is what type of assets tend to do best when global liquidity is increasing, right? Some people will say, well, precious metals, and you're not wrong. Gold, silver, right? These tend to do well in global liquidity, expansionary regimes. So does crypto, right? And I think that's the big thing. There's this big question right now is, well, how does gold and Bitcoin, or how does silver and Ethereum, or just the precious metals versus crypto, how does that trade work inside of a portfolio? And the way that we attack it inside of TTI is that I think diversifying through any of those is a good idea, but you have to know where your biggest potential wins are. And I'll tell you right now, from a beta standpoint, from a volatility standpoint, it's not going to be gold. It's not going to be silver. As a matter of fact, the chart I want to show you is going back to April 7th, right, when the market bottomed, to September 18th, 2025, which is today. You can look at the returns of the quote unquote global liquidity trade. We have Ethereum leading the market higher, up 192.5%. We have Solana up 132%. We have Bitcoin up 49, the Q's up 41, silver up 39, IWM, which is small caps, up 35, the S&P up 31, and gold up 20. Gold has been a killer trade. We have nailed it the entirety of its move. Once it broke out in March of 2024, we've nailed the silver trade, but look at the overperformance in the crypto space. As a trader, you have to allocate your capital to the most efficient trading vehicles possible. Look at the uptrends in Ethereum, Solana, and Bitcoin. Look at the uptrends in silver and gold as well. But if you had $1,000, $10,000, $100,000, are you going to put all of it into gold? Probably not a good idea if you're looking to outperform everything else, which as a trader, you should be looking to do. A winning trade that doesn't outperform a benchmark, so let's say the S&P 500, is a losing trade as a retail trader, as far as I'm concerned. You want your money to go as far as it can possibly go, and that means higher beta, higher volatility, risk assets that are correlated to the macro narrative, and in this case, it's global liquidity going up. So, to eloquently summarize what Josh is saying, we're going fucking higher, whether you like it or not. It's not because Bitcoin is going to revolutionize the world. It's because there's a fuck ton of new money entering the markets, and that money permeates through, and the higher beta assets respond accordingly. Ethereum, Solana, and Bitcoin. What do you think? Josh, is that good? Did I do a good job?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, you could even, as an example of kind of the gold versus Bitcoin comparison, like I said, gold's an amazing trade, but if we pull up the Bitcoin against gold ratio, since the April 7th lows, Bitcoin, of those two, has been the name to hold. And if we kind of zoom out, daily or weekly, Bitcoin's bull market and going extensively higher is usually included in this chart showing the breakout of BTC against gold, right? Breaking into all-time highs.
Listen, people can own a laggard if they want, but they should be focused on the leaders. That's what we do inside of TTI. You need to focus on the leaders, and right now that's the crypto space. Bitcoin, Ethereum, exactly. Solana, etc.
And just to build on the strength of that space, like when we see these ratios of Bitcoin against gold break out to all-time highs, which it really hasn't this cycle. It broke out for a few days temporarily in December, and then got rejected back below the 2021 high. Like, that's another sign that people are screaming that this is the same cycle as 2021 or the names of cycle.
They're crazy. They're absolutely
crazy,
insane.
And it's just not. They're fitting a random chart to their bias.
Yep.
And see, it looks the exact same, yet a majority of the charts look wildly different. The same way that the 2021 top looks wildly different from 2017. There was a double top in 2021. That hasn't happened before.
Listen,
right?
folks,
So,
if people are pulling out fractals as if like to say, hey, it's like the same stupid argument of the dot-com bubble being equivalent to the AI bubble. It's absolutely stupid. It's the laziest type of analysis. These people have no idea what they're doing. Their followers are going to miss out on generational opportunities to make an absolute fuck ton of money. It's not my job to convince them that they're wrong. Their portfolios are going to prove to them that they're wrong over time. I want to shift gears really quick and talk about the total crypto market cap. We're above 4 trillion again. We're pressing into new all-time highs. Is this not the biggest indicator that the entire crypto space is about to break out?
of course.
Talk to me about this.
Total. I mean, yeah. So total has been at all-time highs, and some people are pointing to that. But
going to total three. Yeah, let's fucking go, baby.
We talk about total three, something that a lot of traders look at. And total three, for anyone listening, it's the entire crypto market cap, which excludes Bitcoin and Ethereum, two most heavily weighted ones. We are breaking out to all-time highs for essentially the first time since November, December of 2021. Had a couple wicks up, kind of above that area, and that was in recent weeks. And people think that this chart is over. Like, I'm not sure. All-time highs are preceded by all-time highs, and to say that, oh, we're just going to go to this level and stop out, and the market's over, and all bears won, is the most ludicrous bullshit I can imagine. Like, we are.
There's no such thing as a triple top. Can I say this? I don't know how much more do I have to say this? There is no such thing as a triple top. The only thing that exists in technical analysis that might indicate some sort of topping pattern to a trend reversal would be something like a head and shoulders, which are common, some sort of rounded top, which, both of these, by the way, typically resolve higher in bull markets. I know people hate to say that, but technical trading is a lot more than just putting pretty patterns and shapes on a chart. You can teach a 5-year-old to fucking do that. Use some critical thinking here. Primary trends are up. The more times price taps a resistance area, the weaker the resistance area inherently becomes. Buyers are consistently taking out sellers at this level. If you guys have any experience whatsoever trading with a level 2 in front of you, I know I'm dating myself a little bit. You've seen what it's like to see bids come up and take offers out over and over and over, and then what happens? All of a sudden, you get this huge shift where essentially the sell wall comes off, bids fill in, and they use that as a launch pad higher. So I'm going to go out, be ballsy, and say we're going to be at 1.66 trillion in total 3 within the next 6 months, and that's conservatively speaking. I don't think this goes quietly into the night. I think this rips fucking higher. I think this absolutely screws as many bears over as possible. And on the other side, all of the non-believers, they're going to be aping in left and right. If you thought 2021 was bad, you haven't seen shit. We're going to have 6-year-olds slinging shit coins, making thousands and $10,000s of dollars from their fucking bed before school. We haven't seen that yet. So if you think this is a 2021 cycle all over again, you're an idiot. It's going to happen again. And arguably, it's going to be better than it was in 2021 because we're closer to the end of a secular bull cycle with all of the stars aligning, right? That maybe this does lead into an extended bear market, secular bear market that lasts a decade. But we're not there yet. Nor nowhere close. So make as much money as you can in the meantime. So total 3 breaking out the all-time high. That takes out Bitcoin and Ethereum. Let's shift gears and talk Ethereum. This was the best trade we put on since May. It's still the best trade we put on since May. What do we think about Ethereum?
I mean, I'm just going to repeat myself from earlier. Higher. I don't see a world in which Ethereum doesn't break to a new all-time high. In the near future, call it weeks to maybe a month. It looks incredible. I don't know who's been talking shit about Ethereum and saying, it looks like dog shit. It's over. It's going back down to 2,000, whatever it is. That just doesn't look like the case. We've had a crazy breakout off the $2,000 or off the $1,800 lows. We've consolidated, smashed out of it. Consolidated, smashed out of it. We're now in what, the third or fourth consolidation, making higher lows on the daily, and people want to say that the chart doesn't look good, Ethereum doesn't look great. Its strength is increasing, ETHBTC looks good, and if we follow along with the theory on Total 3, something we talked about is that, while Bitcoin dominance has a role to play in what people call an alt season, I'm a much bigger proponent that ETHBTC looking extremely bullish is a much stronger indicator for alt season, and that also, with the assumption that Total 3 is going to go up, which even excludes Ethereum, is going to allow and going to happen as a result of an Ethereum breakout.
Still looks great. We did the work. The chart looks a little messy right now because we have indicators and stuff on it, but we did the work back in April and May to set the base case that Ethereum was going to outperform Bitcoin over the course of 1 to 2 years. We are well on our way. If you look back, starting essentially in January of 2020, Ethereum outperformed Bitcoin for about 2 years straight by over 400%. As of right now, we got long, May 8th or something like that, May 15th or something. We've now outperformed Bitcoin by 122%. So once again, if you're a fan of fractals, which if you're a 5-year-old, you probably are, you expect Ethereum to continue to outperform Bitcoin for a long time. So once again, if you're thinking about what is the better trading vehicle, it's probably Ethereum. We have the data to back that up. Really quick, because I'm curious, I want to look at Total 2. I haven't looked at Total 2, and I'm expecting it to break out as well. So this is your total crypto market cap without Bitcoin. Listen, folks, you got all 3 of these, Total 2, and Total 3, confirming all-time high breakouts. If you're not long in the crypto space, that's fine. You don't have to own this stuff. Just don't be a little bitch and complain that other people do and are making money. That's totally fine. You don't need to. You can stick to gold. You know, you can go and buy your gold bars from Costco. You can go and get your silver dollars. You could, be doomers that the world is going to end, bury it in your backyard for your kids to go on a pirate hunt later when you die. Feel free. But as of right now, internet funny money is outperforming precious metals. They are both fulfill the same trade idea, and they're on the verge of breaking out in a historic. I mean, this is historic. We have not seen this breakout since the end of the bull market in 2021. Right? Total 2, total 3, right now breaking out. This is your last chance before you get the bigger move. And I'll tell you right now, the hardest trade in the market is the catch-up trade. It's harder than pretending to know when markets are going to bottom. God bless your soul if you're a bottom picker. Good luck. You're not going to last very long in the market. But God damn it, the hardest trade ever is the, oh shit, I missed the move, now I got to get in. Because every pullback feels like the top, you're going to stop out, then you get back in a little higher, then you stop out. Man, it's just, this is it, folks.
And a lot of people taking that counter trade, they don't take any trade because of paralysis from social media. Right? There's so much noise that you get a perfect entry, a BRB on a stage one accumulation breakout, and you go, oh shit, well that's the top right there. And you've got people with hundreds of thousands of followers on social media.
Hey folks, if you need help understanding signal from noise, the free newsletter linked in the description is a great way to do that. All we do is look at data. There's no opinions or biases. 2 months ago, we said, what if a new bull market just started? And guess what, folks? If you look at how the market has performed over the last 2 months, it's hard to make a case against that. So again, if you're one of those guys, you're on Twitter all the time, you're on YouTube, you're listening to your boy tell you that the market's a Ponzi scheme, and you're pissed off that you're not making money with the rest of us, the free newsletter is a great way to get started with this. Sorry, had to shout that out. Let's talk Solana really quick because we're very bullish Solana right now. Solana actually the best performer over Ethereum and Bitcoin since August. So the last 6 to 7 weeks, it's been Solana pressing higher, Ethereum taking a breather, Bitcoin taking a breather, Solana continuing to hit new 52, well, about 52 week highs, almost. Not quite actually, we'll say about 10-month highs. What do we think happens to Solana over the next couple of weeks, and what happens if, and I know it's a big if, what happens if Solana breaks above 260, Josh?
I mean, all-time highs are preceded by all-time highs. I imagine Solana to continue up. Maybe it's not going to be in a straight line. We will get pullbacks along the way, just like any other asset. But Solana's momentum has been building. We trade relative strength. It's been showing that for several weeks. When we finally got that $206 level breakout, because that was kind of pinning us down for a little while, that was one of the final signals of PTI for everybody to get long that. And Solana has that momentum building from U.S. equities, right? They're building momentum with treasury companies coming out, TradFi bid, a number of upcoming Solana spot ETFs. Currently, there's only one on the market, SolZ. And so, we can expect this to go higher. We might get some consolidation at the all-time high level or a small pullback around that 280, 290 level. But otherwise, continue higher and probably targeting, $400, $500 by the end of the year for Solana.
So really quick, I want to point out, remember, folks, if you're inside of TTI or you're a fan of our work, we're here to make money. I'm not here to argue that Ethereum is the future of finance or Bitcoin is the future of finance or Solana isn't a Ponzi scheme. I don't really give a shit, to be quite honest. One big thing we do inside of TTI, though, is we are constantly looking at which assets outperform. If I throw $10,000 on a trade, I want to make sure that that was the best possible trading decision I made, because worst case scenario is you buy something in the right area of the market and it just kind of doesn't do anything. You might make a couple bucks. It's hard to stop out because it's winning, but is it winning as much as everything else? So we utilize ratio charts all the time. And something we noticed a couple of weeks ago was that Solana potentially was rounding out against Ethereum. So think about this. Ethereum is outperforming Bitcoin. We proved that late April, early May. We got the pivot. We got long Ethereum. That was the right play. We're sitting in a lot of Ethereum. It's all free. We have nothing to do here except to wait for Ethereum to continue. But a couple weeks ago, we were thinking, should we be adding into Ethereum here, or should we be looking to diversify through? Let's go find an asset. Lo and behold, a couple of weeks ago, we saw the same pivot in Solana. And since we started getting long, Solana has outperformed Ethereum by nearly 30%. So if you're not inside of TTI, and this is a new concept to you, find the best trading vehicle. As of right now, Solana is the better trade than Ethereum from this starting point. Okay, Solana in particular, from a pure market cap standpoint, as of right now, $134 billion for Solana versus Ethereum's 554. All things considered, Solana requires less capital to make bigger moves. They're both pressing into all-time highs. Which do you think is going to outperform? It shouldn't take a rocket scientist to understand it's easier to move a $100 billion asset than it is a $550 billion asset. Okay, so we're bullish. I mean, we're bullish all three. Is there anything you want to add here to the Solana chart or the idea there?
No, but I can build off of that. So I think the momentum at which Solana keeps exploding upwards is going to increase, quite dramatically as additional U.S. spot ETFs come in. As that the liquidity hose turns on for Solana, right? Right now, it's limited to treasuries and DATs that are looking to acquire Solana. The move from 210 to 240 over the weekend, largely done by Galaxy buying $1.34 billion of Solana over the weekend during illiquid markets when TradFi can't participate, which is hilarious and great strategic timing. And going from Solana, yesterday the SEC announced a change to generic listings for ETPs, which are what a lot of crypto products fall under, exchange traded products. And essentially, that's going to open. I've talked on this report as well as writings in TTI that there's an issue with the ETFs in that there's no trickle down effect for the most part, where you have large institutional investors or folks who are buying IBIT, Ethe, SolZ. They can't trickle down that money into altcoins, right? And so that's been one of the limiting factors for Total 3 and for others, which excludes the top 10, in my opinion. Yesterday's SEC decision to make a generic listings procedure for ETPs, which includes crypto ETFs, is going to essentially turn the fire hose on for anyone that wants to launch an altcoin ETF in U.S. markets. Now has a legal and direct path to do it. As an example, when the ETF rules changed in late 2019 for their generic listing standards, traditional ETFs floated from an average of like 117 per year to 370 a year. Now, with the changes so that it allows for crypto products in U.S. equity markets, what do we think is going to happen?
Yep. I mean, I said this today in the newsletter that we sent out. The writing is on the wall. If you can't see it, that's your problem. No complaining in the fucking casino. When somebody else, remember those old E-Trade commercials? I love these things. Those old E-Trade commercials like 25 years ago, where it was like, your neighbor's the dumbest guy from high school and he just bought a boat. Or like somebody just died and left $10 million to their like pet iguana. You remember those E-Trade commercials? That reminds me of what's going on right now. There's so much bitterness and so much fucking visceral hate for everybody other than what your opinion states, that if somebody else is winning, it's because they're an idiot, or it's because they're willingly participating in a Ponzi scheme, or just some stupid shit, anything to take away from the fact that maybe these bullshit opinions and biases are keeping you locked away from owning assets that are appreciating. Stop doing that. If I'm pissing you off by saying that, you're the person I'm talking to. Those E-Trade commercials 25 years ago were making fun of you. Don't do it. These assets are going to increase in price. The writing's on the wall. Josh has laid out the framework from the legal side of it. I'm trying to lay out the framework from a price side of it. Own this stuff, once again, and don't be a bitch. April 7th to September 18th, Ethereum, Solana, and Bitcoin has outperformed everything else. It should be a portion of your portfolio if you're looking to outperform the market. That's my stance. Josh, is there anything you want to add here before we wrap it up?
I mean, I can pull up a quick trade this week, and like many weeks in TTI, we look at sector strength. And with kind of the expectations of fireworks this week and the big three, Bitcoin, Ethereum, Solana, really starting to outperform and break out of the kind of the volatility holes they've been in, we wanted to see which sectors and looking at larger market cap coins were outperforming. And one, no surprise, memes. That's kind of something we've been talking about for 2.5 years now. They always lead out of the bottoms, and they are the quickest to sell off at the tops. But the second two are layer ones and layer twos. So layer ones, think BNB, AVAX, Solana. Those make sense. Layer twos are specific beta plays to Ethereum. And so one, for me, this is a hint that not only is Ethereum ready to explode because its beta assets are also lining up for big moves, but it offers additional opportunities to, pump your P&L up. So if you want to pull up Optimism by USD, it's just OPUSD. It's one of the leading layer twos in Ethereum's network. Among the other, I don't know, 10 to 15 layer twos.
Looks like we traded it before and it was a win, so let's go.
Exactly. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. We traded it back. I believe it was fall of 2023. It was the last trade potentially, or early 2024. But right now, for the last, since early 2025, it's been in a bit of a stage one accumulation down here at that kind of sub 82 level. Price is now just above the 200-day simple moving average. It looks like it kind of wants to break that level. And so the trade idea here would be get long Optimism on a break above 83 cents. And essentially take this back up to kind of that contentious area at 176. And then from there, maybe risk off some of your position and then let the rest ride into, that $3 previous range high level.
I like this for one thing in particular. I threw the VRVP indicator on to see where volume is. For those of you that don't know, the VRVP indicator looks at volume by price. Your volume across the x-axis shows you volume by time. Volume by time, from a swing trading perspective, more and more useless by each day. There's so much junk volume nowadays. I don't even use it. I don't really give a shit about it. I do care though about volume at certain price points. And when I see these gaps in volume here, what you tend to see is when price gets up into these gaps, it tends to move rather quickly through them towards the next kind of big volume area. So something I'm looking at here is you get long, you said 83 to 45 cents. We'll go ahead and call it, we'll say 86 because that's where it is. A shift click up to 135, which is where the volume starts to kick in again, is a 57% move. So that's not nothing, right? That's pretty goddamn good. And you get half of that move, you can move your stop up to break even, and at that point, it's a free trade anyway. So why not? Yeah, I like it. It's high beta at 6%. Riding a bullish momentum regime. You're now above a 200-day moving average, building out a base. I think we have to wait for that breakout, like you said. But I would, at minimum, be targeting 130 to 135 with a stop up. Let this low volume zone be attacked to the upside. You start to find resistance at 135 with a stop up, and then do whatever you want. Close it, 50, 55% win. Congrats. You want to let it keep running because we're in a bull market. You can do that too. But I think it comes down to managing your risk first, and this gives you a good opportunity at turning that trade, we say free, by moving the stop up to break even rather quickly.
Yeah, exactly. And one thing I would say with the volatility that crypto's seen recently over the last 2 years, using a time frame, the goal should be to bring your stops up to break even as quickly as possible. So if you have one of those big days where the asset goes up 15, 20%, yes, there's a chance it pulls back the next day, but you're better off moving those stops up to protect your capital in the event that a continued pullback to the downside hurts your P&L. But also, there are so many assets to trade in the crypto space that taking one loss isn't at back break even or even a small loss. That's not a big deal. If you can find other trades, so don't even
get me started. We just talked about this yesterday. I cannot handle people that complain about losing a couple trades and then the next couple of trades they make a bunch of money. They're like, well, I wish I didn't lose those fuck you. It's the cost of doing business. Grow up. That's it. That's all I got for you, Josh. Thank you so much. This has been a fantastic crypto report. For those of you that are listening to us, I appreciate you hanging out with us every Thursday. Josh, thanks again, and we'll see you next Thursday, hopefully at all-time highs.
A pleasure. Looking forward to it.
See ya.